The Hand on the Wall, a mystery thriller written by Maureen Johnson, performed by Aubrey Watts and Derek Watts.
The people who have died here at the Academy didn't die in accidents. Why don't we go back in time and talk about how the Academy came to be? It all started in the 1930s when the Academy had first opened. A rich man by the name of Albert Ellingham had funded it and named it after himself. His daughter Alice was born in 1932. She went missing along with his wife Iris in 1936. The two were kidnapped. They never found her body until recently. My friends and I had found it right here in the academy.
Yeah, it was really cool when we found out that Stevie had cracked the case. She's the best we know. She is very good at what she does. And if we were being honest, it took us by surprise. Oh, yeah, definitely. But it all made sense, and she's finally getting the recognition she deserves.
Aw, thank you guys. But back to where we were. There were two kids who went here together that tried to mimic Bonnie and Clyde. They found these secret bunker things all over the academy. They planned to do so many things just like Bonnie and Clyde.
Stevie and I found one of the bunkers during the snowstorm. It still had things in it.
We even got stuck in it. Well, I did get some help from everyone to solve this case. I couldn't have done it myself. It did take me a while, but once I figured it out, confronting Charles was the second most thrilling part. The most thrilling was solving it.
Well, why don't we tell everyone about how we confronted Charles then?
It all happened so fast. I was sitting on the stairs with David when it clicked. I couldn't even explain what was going on in my mind, and all I could say was go get everyone. We'd all gathered in Charles's office. It all just started pouring out once I got going. I started by talking about how everyone who died and didn't die in an accident. I started with Hayes Major. All he ever talked about was Hollywood and how he couldn't wait to get out of school. When he died, Ellie ran too. I had thought about the end of it all, and it made sense. He had taken something that wasn't his. He was someone who used people to do the work for him. He used his ex girlfriend to write papers for him, used us to do most of the work on our video project, and used someone to write the show. Ellie was the only one with any motive, but she didn't want the money. She was too busy with her own art to even care what happened to the show.
Then I questioned the thing with Ellie because she had ran when we all found out that.
I had accused her of something because she knew something. There was always a rumor that Albert Ellingham's will had money for people if they found her body and weren't the reason for her disappearance. If she wasn't found, the funds would instead go to the academy. No one from the staff of the academy was allowed to claim it as theirs. I had asked Charles about it and if it existed, but he lied. He knew it was true but didn't want people to know about it. When I brought it up, him and Dr. Quinn said that if they had to say no if anyone asked, which is reasonable, but it's also worth $70 million. That's a good motive for murder. But with the restrictions of the no faculty member thing, then someone from the outside has to do it. Almost someone like Hayes, Ellie, or Dr. Irene Fenton, who, if I do need to remind you, died recently in accidents, which all have one thing in common. They were trapped. Dr. Fenton was trapped in a house fire, Hayes in a room, and Ellie in a tunnel. They weren't personal, but were all explainable. They were all connected to getting the money. Dr. Fenton had a drinking problem and no sense of smell. She was also standing up for the case and Alice. She died because she stopped going along with the plan. It technically started when they did the Art Barn project and they had to clear out the tunnel where they found a trunk. Inside the trunk was worth $70 million right in front of him, except he couldn't have it. He had to use other people for him, so when they wouldn't comply anymore, they were to be killed in an accident type of way so no one would question it. Then Charles found out Hayes had told Ellie about his plan and he was scared she would talk. Charles had told her she should run and he would help her. He set the trap and she ran to the passageway in the basement where all he had to do was put something over the opening. He knew it would be best for someone to find it, to make the school seem unsafe. He had also messed with Janelle's machine, so it would cause an accident and someone would get hurt. Plus, with the storm, everyone would have to clear out. Everyone except Hunter. Charles was going to make a move on him when we cleared, but he didn't expect us to stay.
I didn't even know that he was planning on doing that at the studio, said something, but it made so much more sense afterwards.
Yeah, haha. I also realized that Charles would have called to see if whoever was emailing him about the crocodile was real. He had plenty of time, and I knew he wouldn't be stupid enough to not check, but he sent it anyway. He just needed to prove that the staff couldn't claim it.
That's when Larry showed up, and we found out he had rejoined the police department just to do this one thing for us. Stevie gave him the wall scanner. We all headed down to his office when we found a little square, and then Janelle had broken it. It was so cool. It was nothing, just simple physics.
It was very impressive, but back to what happened. After Janelle broke the wall, and I saw what I thought was an old, worn out bag, but then I saw the shape of a head, hand, and shoe. That's when we realized she was finally home.
Scene 2. The Academy is rich in dynamite, and dynamite is the thing that has my heart, not Eddie. When I first arrived, Albert Ellingham teased me with a stick and continued to laugh at me. After the campus was full of milk, there wasn't much left. I heard a workman say the word and I followed him and watched him as he went to an opening in the ground underneath that statue. I waited until he was gone and went to the statue. It took me a little bit to figure out where he got in, but once I did, I went in and I looked like an unfinished project. It was almost like a cave. I saw a doorway and I went through it. After I got through, I saw an amazing sight, a grotto. There was a boat shaped like a swan. The weather started to get colder and the rock froze over, so I couldn't tell Eddie until the ground melted. Once I did, we used it to do our secret activities. We could use the privacy to work on our plan. On the day we were going to leave Ellingham for good, Eddie was in charge of getting the weapons. We were going to steal a car and get a different one in another city. We had maps to plan the route out of Vermont. We were going to go through New York, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Kentucky, going through only small towns. We would probably stop in California. I mean, even Bonnie and Clyde hit the end of their road. It's our dream to be the next Bonnie and Clyde.